Roller coasters bring a special kind of joy that nothing else in a theme park can. Lately, they've been getting more and more extreme, and some even seem to defy the laws of physics. However, these machines need to take responsibility for people's lives and keep them safe during the rides. Unfortunately, sometimes accidents have happened with some terrible consequences, so join us as we count 10 of the worst roller coaster accidents.
Number 10.
The Rat. Mark Blackwood had only recently started working on the Rat ride when tragedy struck. The teenager was carrying out some simple maintenance on the ride when his hand got stuck. The ride didn't let go of his hand until it was at the top of the rise, dropping him to his death. This tragic event shows that staff members can be in equal danger as visitors. These huge machines need to be handled very carefully.
Number 9.
Ride of Steel. Picture this. Sergeant James Hackner, a retired Iraqi war veteran who had lost both of his legs during the war, wanted to relax and enjoy his day at the theme park. After having asked the staff for which ride they would recommend for him from a safety standpoint, the staff pointed him to the Ride of Steel. During the ride, he slipped through the harness while traveling at 50 miles per hour and fell to his tragic death after the train went racing over an incline. Investigators determined that nothing was mechanically wrong with the ride, and the safety harness was working as intended.
Number 8.
Ferris Wheel. Ferris wheels surprisingly are one of the more dangerous rides you can get on. Sure, they move slowly and don't go as high as many of the other rides, but often they also aren't harnessed properly, or even at all, which is a recipe for disaster. A 15-year-old girl with Down syndrome managed to get out of her seat and fall out of the ride, dropping 6 meters and causing her deadly head trauma. The reason for this was that she was separated from her mother, who had to sit in her own seat as the staff told her that she was too big.
Number 7.
Batman. While this incident was not the ride's fault in any way, it's still tragic. Back in 2008 in Six Flags Over Georgia, a 17-year-old boy lost his hat. Despite the numerous warnings everywhere, he climbed the fence of the Batman ride to try and retrieve the hat when he was decapitated by the 80km/h ride. Nobody else on the ride itself was injured. This isn't the first time a life was lost to the Batman ride. Back in 2002, 50-year-old groundskeeper Samuel Milton Guyton was also killed after he wandered into the Rollercoaster's path and was kicked in the head by the dangling leg of a passenger on the ride.
Number 6.
Space Journey. What occurred on the Space Journey ride back in June 29th of 2010 is still not fully clear to this day. The ride is designed to simulate a rocket launch. Imagine a Ferris wheel but on its side, spinning at high speeds while also ascending height on a main pole. The ride had around 40 passengers on board in total when one of the cabins tragically came loose and collided with the others. This caused them to fall 25 meters to the ground, resulting in 6 deaths and many injuries. The ride has since been closed permanently, and for good reason, as I doubt anyone would be lining up to roll the dice.
Number 5.
Fujin Raijin II. This attraction, in which passengers stood throughout the course of the ride, had a horrible accident in 2007 when the train derailed and hit one of the guardrails. A 19-year-old woman died and 19 other passengers were injured. After investigating the cause of failure, it was found out that the axle was to blame and it should have been replaced many years prior to the accident. Somehow it had not been a part of the regular inspections.
Number 4.
Superman Tower of Power. Tragic as this accident was, at least nobody died for once. In 2007, the Superman Tower of Power ride at Six Flags Kentucky malfunctioned. As the ride ascended, the cables snapped and were slapping the passengers in the face and torso. The passengers yelled for the ride to be stopped, but they were already 180 feet in the air, and it was too late. As the ride dropped, the cables injured many of the passengers, but one girl in particular who got her feet severed at the ankles, ultimately causing her to lose her feet.
Number 3.
Puff the Little Fire Dragon. A ride with a name like this really shouldn't be on this list, but it sadly is. Puff the Little Fire Dragon, a low-speed children's coaster, had gone full circle twice, and it appeared as though the ride had finished. 6-year-old Ryan went to get out of the car when the ride operator asked if the children wanted to go another time. After which, the ride started moving again. As the child tried to get back into the ride, he fell out of the back car, slipping down through the tracks. Parents screamed at the operator to stop the ride as the little boy tried to climb up through the tracks, but it was too late, and the front car of the ride hit Ryan, killing him.
Number 2.
Hydro. A 16-year-old girl was taken to the Oakwood theme park in Wales during Easter when she took a ride on the park's biggest attraction, Drenched, then called Hydro. The ride features a steep drop into water, purposely getting all of the passengers completely soaked. 16-year-old Hayley Williams was on the ride already and had to adjust her coat and temporarily undo her buckle when the ride dropped 30 meters. She flew out of the ride and hit the ground, which caused severe internal injuries that eventually led to her death.
Number 1.
The Big Dipper, perhaps the most tragic roller coaster tragedy in history. The Big Dipper was the most exciting ride around at the time. The ride was opened all the way back in 1951 and was a huge deal back then, causing long queues of people waiting to pay 15 pence to ride the attraction. With 31 people on board, the 3-car wooden train unexpectedly detached from the drivetrain, then slipped back and the last car derailed. All over the park, loud screams could be heard, and then silence. The accident resulted in 5 children losing their lives, and many of those who survived became traumatized and today have PTSD. Media coverage of the event was minimal, nobody was ever prosecuted, and none of those on the ride received any counseling. If you enjoyed this video, as always, please leave a like, it helps the channel a lot. If you thought the video sucked, then hit the dislike button. Makes sense, right? See you guys next time.